Good morning, everyone. This was a impromptu, but we're going to start off the Wednesday with a giggle because I think everybody needs a laugh. And some people just provide that laughter without even trying to. And I needed a laugh and a break from the other stuff I'm doing. So Betty provided. Here we go. Good morning, y'all. This is going to be just to shoot the shit and laugh a little bit before I roll into other content, maybe later today. But I needed a laugh, and I was finishing up doing my other stuff this morning and had my earbud in listening to the bedster. And she gave me a great laugh. So we're going to talk about it, separate it out, because I tell you what, these people are just, what the hell is going on here? So I snuck in here early this morning and I'm going to get this out of the way. And then I've got a few other projects I need to finish up. And then if I can fit another stream in this afternoon, I might do another stream, more of a typical layout type stream with more of the filings and all that stuff. Let me tell you, there's just so much, and breaking it down into each individual person, it's important. So, hey, Ange, hey, Electro, hey, Ninth Live, Nay, thank you. Thank you. You know what I'm talking about. Steph. Polish bombs back up. Okay. We're going to, I'm excited that it's only a few of us because y'all, hey, Betty, MCW, we can laugh this morning. Good morning, Twin Thing. Betty is providing us with the giggles. Nay, for me, it's not really exhausting because I have really good ways of compartmentalizing stuff and keeping it. I mean, it can be exhausting. It's exhausting, like doing content that is clip heavy or getting timestamps and stuff, because that's something I put a lot of effort into. That can be a little exhausting or give you a headache, but it's really not as hard as a lot of people imagine, in my opinion. There's ways to go about it that kind of take some of that off. So it can be exhausting. What becomes exhausting is watching the emotional impact that this has on so many people. It really upsets a lot of people, which is rightfully so. Hey, Andrea. Hey, Handmade with Love. Okay. Hey, Bamaji. Let's laugh right quick. Okay. This is all under fair use commentary. This is for purposes of laughing this morning and nothing else. Betty's just providing us with a whole lot of, listening to these people can definitely be a little, ugh. Hey, Jana. Oh, JB's mama. I think people, thank you for the compliment. I think people are missing the point. Like, I've heard a lot of people say, well, that's not even in the filing. Like, they have to defend themselves. People are missing the point of what I'm doing. I am attempting to show the team buildup. I'm not going to defend the filings. Like, how am I supposed to do that? But I want people to be able to realize what went into this and how this was coordinated beforehand, the buildup, the team, all of that stuff. Like, I'm not defending the filings. The judge is going to even decide if they're going to accept it or not. I want people to realize what's been happening right in front of us all along to get to this point and how it's all been broke down with this person. Intentional movements, I guess, is the thing. So people are really like, but that's not even it. Like, if this has, okay, I'm not illegal, nothing. I can show you the buildup of it. That's about it. Janae. Hey, Proud Mimi. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Bright Life. Light. Okay, let's go. Let's let Beddy laugh, make us laugh this morning.
It's kind of weird. Again, I'm just going to run through this stuff because we've got the Leilani trial going on today. Turn this off. Maybe it'll help a little bit. No, did it adjust better?
And in my opinion, too, one more thing that I have to put, the fact that all of this is being done to help this one here, gives me the ick. Gives me the ick.
The Leilani trial. Let me sort of turn that around there. Maybe get the light back on. I don't know. It's too bright. Too bright in my glasses, but I can't see otherwise. And so, Channel 2 ran the story about the federal lawsuit. And of course,
oh, Beddy, Channel 2 didn't run a story about a federal lawsuit. That's not what they ran a story about. In fact, Channel 2 never called it a federal lawsuit. Channel 2, WKRN, ran a segment about the filings in Pennsylvania court, not federal court. Carry on.
Hate channels. Now, if you have to work overtime to try to explain your bad behavior, you're probably in the wrong.
If you have to work overtime to explain your bad behavior, meanwhile, how many court dates have you had, Beddy, for your bad behavior in Tennessee?
And so the lady, this is what really ticks me off. Remember Kirsten? And she's the one that swatted my house.
Okay, so right here, I just want to point out, she's blaming somebody for swatting her home. Beddy, from my understanding, you've never had a SWAT to your home. She has pants on. She does have pants on this morning. Good morning, Jojo Danny. Hey, Kim. Hey, Rocky. She's got pants on. We're spared. Yeah, she just can't. Pants optional this morning. Yeah, you guys, okay, just wait. It gets so much better.
She's in there talking smack. They've all converged on Channel 2 to bully them in shape and to question and call their integrity into question.
Bully them into shape. People commenting on a public news segment on a public YouTube channel is bullying them into shape. If you have a dissenting opinion with the news, it is bullying them into shape. Okay.
Because they ran a story, an unbiased story about the situation, and
a fluffed up story from one side. I mean, it is what it is. That's what media does. Okay. I ain't mad at it. It's just going to be interesting if they do get the other side of things from other people. I mean, okay.
And so now these, which is making the job a lot easier because it's showing a very clear.
Making the job, Beddy? What job is it? Making the job? I thought you were being relentlessly bullied and harassed by a organized syndicate, but now you're saying that it's making the job a lot easier. What does this job consist of, Beddy?
Path, but these people are now bullying Channel 2 into submission.
Bullying Channel 2 into submission. Public comments on a public news segment is bullying a news channel into submission. All right. We're in deep this morning. Deep thoughts with Beddy.
So they will not run any more stories about this federal case.
I can't. This is well, they would have to run a segment about a federal case first and foremost, which they didn't do. Secondly, there would have to be a federal case. It's a news outlet, a media outlet. I don't see them being afraid of criticism. In fact, I think media expects criticism.
Can you believe that? Good morning.
No, I can't believe it, Betty, because it's not what's happening, because they didn't run a story about a federal lawsuit.
Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see you. I'm Bullhorn Betty. We cover true crime. Sheena, it's nice to see you. Me and you. Melissa, Mary, Dawn, Brenda, Jojo, it's nice to see you. Victoria, good morning. Good morning, beautiful Southern. Melanie, Roxy, Country Kitten, it's nice to see you.
Yep, we're all living in Betty's world this morning. That's why pants are optional. Brains are optional. Terms are optional. You just pick something and throw it out there today. That's what we're doing. Once again, riding the train with Betty.
You, Peggy. Kentucky Mama Bear, nice to have you here as well. Cheryl, good morning. Brenda, good morning. Karen P, it's nice to see you. Maggie, Marie, Salty Mama, it's nice to see you. 5 months. God bless you, my love. God bless you. Stacy, Cat Lady 24/7. It's nice to see you, Stephanie.
She's got pants on her somewhere up there. I don't care to zoom in to find them though.
Kendra, it's nice to see you. Carol.
Not rocking a bra, but she's got pants on. I mean, it all works out. It's all balance, right?
Loves embroidery and crime shows. It's nice to see you. Dreaming of blue skies and sandy beaches. Regina, tap dancer. Linda, Paula, Mr. and Mrs. E Crimecast. It's nice to see you. Can you believe they are beating up on your local news? These people from all over the country.
Beating up on your local news.
That think that they have the right to destroy people's lives. Want to justify their actions because they lied under oath and had me arrested. And that's
because they lied. Okay, so the news segment she's talking about has nothing to do with her RO stuff. These are two separate situations that they're mixing as one. It has nothing to do with the Proudfoot family and the Bowerstocks getting the ROs. But here she goes again, trying to mix it all as one because somebody lied under oath. No, Betty, are you talking about the filings in Pennsylvania that are not federal, but you keep calling federal? Can you make it make sense?
That's the crux of this. Not the fact that they're doing this to everybody else or anything like that. Oh, it's just about me. Once again,
you're the only one out here needing $15,000 to $30,000. Well, other people do too, but to appeal the ROs. But you're mixing two situations that have absolutely nothing to do with each other. Carry on.
I heard the other day it was all about Tony. Tony was the instigator. Now it's me. I wonder how many.
Well, I mean, I think you probably both had a hand in stuff if you're asking me. When you came in, Tony came in the beginning of May. You came in after Tony came in and you acknowledged that you had reached out to him and over time. And then the discussion about lawsuits started happening and here we are. Okay. Carry on.
How many people they're going to go down this list and try to justify their actions, their lies, and their disgusting behavior on the back of a 15-year-old autistic boy that's been missing since February 26th. And they're so deluded in their brain. They think they have a right to do this. And they think
she's really on it.
The judge is going to allow them to continue to destroy people's lives.
Meanwhile, she is facing 6 violations of protection orders. 6 violations. The only one in court right now for criminal behavior is this one, Beddy. Beddy is the only one facing charges for attempting to harass and stop. Well, not even attempting to. She did because the judge granted the ROs and found there was evidence to do so. But okay, carry on, Bets.
And go real life. That ship sailed. There's no, from my
the ship has left the dock.
Understanding, there's no stopping this from going forward.
There's no stopping. Full steam ahead.
So,
yeah, you have court coming up on November 20th. Full steam ahead.
Cherish, it's nice to see you. Tar Heel, it's nice to see you. We are the Cody's voice. Good morning. Just me. Hugs and kisses, my love. Hugs and kisses. Busy mom, Holly, thank you for the emails, by the way. The real Me Too is here. We got to see her. I tried to catch you before you went to court. It's nice to see you, my love. Gigi for
my love. The level of ick that these guys have been getting or giving, the arrogance since this filing happened is hysterical.
For life, Lisa C. It's nice to see you. Don't forget, Friday at 8, We'll be getting an update of inside the courtroom, and we'll get insight on the stuff we were not able to hear. There's been a few things, including this substance abuse dealer out there that apparently she was, fooling around with for substances, and they put his testimony off camera. The people that were in the courtroom could hear it, but the people in the public watching from TV could not. I'm interested to hear what was said about that. Nice to see you, Outer Banks. Pebbles, good morning, my love. Good morning, good morning.
Oh.
Harley, it's nice to see you. Paula, Cheryl, Michelle, good morning. Nobody who is somebody. I like that. News channels are being targeted. I knew that was going to happen.
News channels are being targeted.
And yeah, they're starting to converge on Channel 2 because they're running the story.
They're starting to converge on Channel 2. So people making public comments on a public media segment. Okay. All right. Again, usually news stories are ran to invoke a public reaction. That is kind of the purpose of media, is to invoke a reaction. News channels are usually pretty unaffected by dissenting opinions. But carry on.
And they want to browbeat them and tell them they don't have any integrity because they're reporting and co-signing this stuff. And, that is, they think brigading. I mean, brigading is what got them in a federal lawsuit to begin with. This nonsense has got to stop. I don't care if they think I'm the worst person next to Hitler.
Once again, Betty, yo, bet, slow down. It's not a federal lawsuit. It is a filing in Pennsylvania court. That is all we have. Surface level, very simple. A filing was submitted to Pennsylvania state court. We don't have a federal lawsuit. There's not an injunction. That's it. Even the news segment said that this had been filed. Carry on.
They have no right to destroy me and my reputation or anything else.
Betty. Now, Betty, it's not fair to continue to blame other people for your destroyed reputation. From my understanding, you destroyed that a long time ago with things like you did outside the laundry home, things you did outside Quentin Simon's home. You've kind of done that yourself, spitting on somebody in Idaho. I think that probably damaged your reputation more than anything else. Okay.
The issues stop, they should have stopped. They don't. They just want to keep going. They want to keep destroying. They want to get people fired, arrested, and
I'm telling you guys, the delusions. They want to get people fired. Meanwhile, Beddy and crew got a lady, had nothing to do with YouTube, had to do with delivery of Molly Golightly's furniture in Pennsylvania, fired from her job because the Karens were Karening. No offense to anybody with the name of Karen. That was all filmed by themselves and blasted on social media. She had a hand in getting Don Wells fired. Many other things, but okay.
Their lives utterly destroyed. They want to make sure that people can't even purchase milk to put in their refrigerator.
Oh, we're back to the milk. Beddy couldn't get milk last week, and she still must be mad at somebody else for it. Couldn't be that there was a hurricane and stuff. She couldn't get milk last week, so I guess the carryover is now people don't want you to be able to purchase milk. What? You guys, I was cracking up listening to this. I was literally finishing paperwork and just dying laughing. Yeah, fired from what? Exactly, fired from what? What did she was bragging about how everybody's jealous of her because she's had these segments on documentaries. Like, we're all jealous of her. So obviously she has no reputational damage done to her. We're all jealous of her. So out of one side of her mouth, she claims that she's this professional, sought after, amazing reputation. And the next, her reputation is harmed from all these other people. Like, can you pick a lane? Because I'm getting whiplash here, Beddy.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Don't forget.
That's her stomping her feet. Enough is enough.
We also have been doing some fundraising for my appeal.
Oh, we just got to slyly throw that in there. Don't forget. Don't forget, we've been fundraising for my appeal. Say it ain't so. The team has been working overtime to emotionally pull everybody in and think that Beddy is being, wrongfully done by Sumner County, and they lied under oath and threw her in jail and yada, yada, yada. It went from corruption, and she was arrested for hashtags and threatening to sue someone, to now the entire county's corrupt and they targeted her. And don't forget that when she got there, they must have turned the thermometer down because she's such a high targeted asset, that Sumner County Jail decided to up the ante and turn the temperature down so she would be cold. Okay. All right.
And we filed the notice of appeal into the court record in a timely manner.
Okay. We looked at that last night. There is appeals listed on the 4 ROs. All right.
The work itself for the appeal is going to take a bulk, a lot of work, a lot of travel. And so if you guys have $1 where $1 will do campaign, please consider donating to my GoFundMe.
$1 will make you have a hey.
All proceeds are going directly to my attorney.
Well, how is that? How does that work? How does that work? It's actually going to GoFundMe for you, not directly. So there has to be going to your hands and then to the attorney. That is one thing. If I ever had to do that and people wanted, I would set up a trust directly with the attorney, and that would be the only thing I would do. I don't know, but that's misleading because it's going into a GoFundMe, into her hands, and then wherever.
We're not pocketing money. We're not buying ourselves cars with money. We are literally going to represent ourselves and represent this cause to the fullest extent allowable by law. And anybody that would like to help out with that, please, God bless you for that. You guys know that this has been a very difficult situation I have been put in. And
very difficult situation that you've been put in, that you put yourself intentionally in. Again, you drove from Florida to Tennessee after these ROs were already served to you. You put yourself in that, not you were put in. You put yourself in those positions, Beddy, willingly. In fact, I think there was times that you were boasting on here that, being an activist of sorts, you just kind of have to sacrifice sometimes.
And quite frankly, once this is over, it'll be done. It'll be done across this country. Once this is all put to in this we walk this path, this will be done. We are getting this stuff where we can finally be a true crime channel and not have all of these people.
I mean, I guess you kind of lived up to that. You are a true crime channel out here committing true crimes on families with missing children. You've lived up to that, Mark. They're bets, but I don't think you're true crime in the way that you want it to be.
Doxing my audience, doxing my mods, doxing me.
Where's the proof of that? Where's the proof of your audience being doxed or your mods being doxed? And as far as you being doxed, ma'am, you've been screaming out your address and you are on all sorts of public filings. So there's that. You knew what you were getting into, suing people and signing up for things like this. Your information, you've been screaming it from the rooftops.
Bullying all of us. We're going to literally thank you. Not really a dog toy. Put all this nonsense to an end, not only for us, but for the future content creators that will be coming on to this platform.
She is saving everybody else. The future content creators, she's doing this for you. All for you.
That doesn't deserve to be treated the way I was treated or many other content creators are treated.
All about how she was treated. Meanwhile, not one second of thought about how she's treated victims and their families. Okay.
Treated for believing the way that they believe. So very thankful. I can't really dive into it. My message is just stop. Just stop. Do you think a judge is going to sit here and look at this and say, so you had an opportunity all this time to stop?
I think a judge is going to look at that and make their decision of whether there has legal merit or not. I think a judge concerns themselves with legal merit and legal standing in a courtroom of what is illegal versus what is not illegal. That's what I think.
Stop this bad behavior and you continue. And you're going to continue. He's going to.
Isn't it weird how she thinks this judge is going to do these things, but she's not listening to the very judge that placed orders on her. Hey. Sacrifice. She's a sacrificial lamb.
Have no choice but to put a preliminary injunction in until
these people had no choice, right? Beddy, you got 4 ROs.
Can find out the facts of the case, because they just won't stop. They think
until we can find out the facts of the case. Hold on.
And say, so you had an opportunity all this time to stop this bad behavior, and you continue, and you're going to continue. He's going to have no choice but to put a preliminary injunction in until he can find out the facts of the case, because they just won't stop. They think they are entitled to continue to do this. And the more that they do.
Continue to do what? There is no active searches except from probably law enforcement for Sebastian. I thought the standing in the complaint was that people were interfering with the searches for Sebastian and the investigation for Sebastian. That is handled by law enforcement. I don't see anywhere that anybody is searching besides law enforcement. And
the more evidence that they're providing for us. So just keep sending all the evidence that you guys have. I know.
Keep sending all the evidence. Screenshots and public chats. Okay.
A lot of people have been invested in this, trying to get this to stop right along with me.
All those 75 people that have been sending her things, you're a part of the team now. I mean, you're a leg of the team.
If you guys see anything, you guys can send that over. If you are a victim of this organization, this enterprise, please reach out. And I'm serious. Please reach out. Just, you don't have to put your name on the record. You don't have to be a participant or a plaintiff in this.
So what's the purpose of reaching out then? I would be very careful if I was you reaching out to anything and do whatever you want to. You guys are grown adults. My personal feeling is when you're dealing with a group of people who have publicly claimed that they grab IP addresses, get people's personal information, you got to do what you want to do. But what's the purpose of reaching out then if they don't have to do any of those things? Or
and maybe you don't want justice for yourself, or you're terrified from the repercussions of it.
You don't want justice for yourself, Beddy.
Sometimes one of the hardest things to do in life is the right.
Okay. Hold on, this plane's loud. This right here is what just made me decide that we were going to review this morning. This is called emotional manipulation in its finest. And it'll give you the ick for the rest of the day. I'm going to slow it down so you can hear it in full glory.
Thing. If you have been a victim of these people in this campaign, please reach out to Nick. Okay, doxing at night.agency. There have been so many people that have come forward from this organization that have underwent exactly what we have gone through.
So many people that have come forward from this organization. Okay.
People that you wouldn't imagine.
Are there people in your inbox yet saying that we frame and set people up for crimes? I wonder if you've gotten any of those emails yet.
It's sad. It's sad that they've been able to rain this terror down on so many people and use this coordinated playbook that they've been using for quite some time. And if you have
a coordinated playbook, but the complaint says that this started in February of 2024. Okay.
If you want help, you don't have to suffer in silence. Okay. That's the messaging.
I feel like we need the ASPCA music in the background right now.
Don't have to suffer in silence. I can tell you that there are people that are on this lawsuit that don't really care so much about Bullhorn Beddy, but they understand the cause.
We know that. We know that. We've seen them call you an opportunist. Carry on.
There are people that have stepped forward to provide evidence that absolutely are anti-Beddy, but support this cause.
Oh, how embarrassing, Beddy.
Because what they've seen is disgusting. It's unlawful. It's illegal. It is an enterprise, and they are.
That will be determined by a court. Beddy. That right there, that's to be determined by a judge, a court,
are being paid to do these things.
Being paid to do these things. Somebody is paying people to do these things.
And so they've been paid quite a bit to do these things. And most of these people.
Whose payroll are you guys on? Nobody shared. Are you guys getting money from OSHA? Like, wait. Oops. Hold on, you guys. Dexter decided he was going to try to eat the pool guy this morning. He's a brat. Okay, carry on.
People are, criminals. They obviously don't mind breaking the law. And we need to put a stop to it. And the only way we're going to put a stop to it is everybody coming together and say we have enough and raise our voices, if nothing more, on this common goal that we have to get this this destruction in people's lives when somebody doesn't like them to end, and make sure that we have good law on the record that will help prevent this in the future. This is going to be very historical, in my opinion. I truly.
What? This is going to be historical. We need to rewind that and watch that again. I want you to get that in full concept of what she's saying. This is going to be case law. Okay? Yeah, she just went there. She did. Okay, here you go.
And raise our voices, if nothing more, on this common goal that we have to get this this destruction in people's lives when somebody doesn't like them to end, and make sure that we have good law on the record that will help prevent this in the future. This is going to be very historical, in my opinion.
Historical.
I truly believe that this is what we need to do to start putting what needs to be put in place in our law, in precedent, and in case law, to help the future people here on.
Okay, hold on. We got to discuss that. We got to break that down word by word for a moment, because yeah, she said all that. She just tried all of that. And it's just going to build. This is why I had the giggles. Because this woman has lost her shit. All right, let's go.
Sure that we have good law on the record that will help prevent this in the future.
Help prevent what? You from stalking and harassing families? I agree with that.
This is going to be very historical.
Historical. Again, a missing child's case that you've used to harass and stalk the families. Hopefully it is. Hopefully it does change laws for victims and their families. Truly.
In my opinion, I truly believe that this is what we need to do.
This is what we need to do
to start putting what needs to be put in place.
To start putting what needs to be put in place. Beddy, word salad.
In our law.
In our law. No specifics here. She has no clue what she's talking about, but she's feeding you an emotional manipulation rant.
In precedent and in case law, to help the future people here on these social media platforms.
Beddy is sacrificing all of herself for the future YouTubers of America. We used to have future farmers of America. We have future YouTubers of America. FYTA, Beddy is sacrificial lamb.
This doesn't just happen in the true crime genre. This happens across multiple platforms. Some of these people are involved in bullying people across multiple platforms, across multiple genres, because they're being paid to do so.
Some of these people, like Beddy, actually take this real life and go harass victims and their families at their worst times in real life, such as the Laundry family, Idaho 4, Quentin Simon's case, and the neighbors and all the fuckery that they did there. Dawn Wells and the community there. I mean, how many communities has she gone into and created a ruckus? Tennessee. Okay.
And we just want to make sure that this is that nobody loses their life in a situation like this. This was very taxing for me mentally.
And Betty, I think there's actually a police record where law enforcement officials offered you mental health help.
And personally, even though I smile here with you, and
you're not smiling right now. You're doing the sad puppy dog face right now, trying to emotionally manipulate your audience.
Lead by example and keep this ship moving forward.
This is leading by example. Yes, it is. Yep.
I think the behind the scenes hasn't taken a toll on me, mentally, physically, and financially. It has. And I'm working around the clock because it never.
She's working around the clock for the future YouTubers of America. You will thank her one day.
Was just like when I walked out of that jail for Sumner County, it wasn't about me. It was about how many.
She didn't walk out. She crawled out after the 19 hours of torture on concrete in a cold building that they intentionally turned the temperature down because she was such a high profile target. She had so much back pain and neck pain, she could barely stand. She was crawling out of the jail. And then, lo and behold, you see her on a hotel bed spewing more nonsense. And the next day, she was out in front of the same exact jail, eating cake, doing prayer circles, and screaming and hollering. Okay.
Many other people they did this to. I've never really worried about me because I feel like God's got me somehow. I give my faith.
She's never worried about her, but she has sacrificed for all of you. God's got her, but she has got you. When in doubt, Betty will figure it out.
To him, even though I struggle with faith, sometimes with some of the walks I have to go through.
Oh, some of the walks you intentionally take on your own? Some of the off-roading you do? Oh, yeah, I forgot.
I do leave my life in God's hands, and I think that that's what has allowed me to move forward in life. But I still worry about the other people that can't do stuff alone, that can't fight by themselves.
And this is why I have such a hard time with faith manipulators, like she is attempting to do. She sucks at it. She's not even a good trad evangelist, if you ask me, but she's trying it.
Are terrified.
Betty, you need to watch more Benny Hinn. Some Joyce Myers. You need to get in there. If you're going to try this, you got to really give it your all. Like, you've got to really be believable. And right now it's really falling short. Like, you need to sit and watch Kenneth Copeland, some of these people, and, you need to tell them that you need a $50 million jet because you cannot be the sacrificial lamb to ride in a tunnel full of demons. Betty, come on. I believe in you. You've got it in you. You're not even buying the bullshit you're spewing.
About what may happen to their family, or, their family being doxxed, their addresses being posted on social media. This enterprise is very, very dangerous, and all they want to do is hurt people personally, mentally, physically. And
personally, mentally, physically. Wouldn't mentally and physically be part of a person? Their bets?
Say physically, because there's no other purpose of putting somebody's address out there other than to send some crazy lunatic to their home to hurt them or their property.
Whoa. How many people have been doxxed by Betty? Ooh, look at that pause. I think that's the demons.
So there's no benefit of it other than that. That's nobody has.
So what was the point of you calling me that one time and veiled kind of threatening me about an address from 15 years ago. What was the purpose of that? Oh, you wanted to be friends? Is that what you're telling me? You just wanted to braid each other's hair? Sing kumbaya? Oh, Betty. I guess you did say God bless you at the end of the veiled threat. What's the purpose of you doing all this stuff to Crude and his family and friends? I'm sure there was no bad intent, right?
Has been able to give me
And the list goes on and on and on of insert name.
a good explanation as to why somebody would put somebody's home address on social media to their hate audience that they've incited for months and years about a particular person, and then add an address in. The only good that
Meanwhile, as she has sat on screen screaming her full address and encouraging people to show up. Okay.
can come out of that is that person getting hurt or their property being injured or them being under surveillance. There's no
Jesus, take the freaking wheel. The things that she has done to these victims and their families, she has flipped the switch right here. Right here, just totally like, these are horrible things to do to somebody that we've all watched her publicly do to this family, many families. But this one is the current one she's doing this to. Betty.
no other good excuse for that to happen. So you've got this going on, and I just really think that people need to realize that their conduct is, yes, very dangerous conduct. It's unlawful conduct, and it needs to end.
It is dangerous and unlawful to stalk and harass others, keep them under surveillance, incite your audience to do horrible things by encouraging them to believe that this family might have done something such as murder their child. Your words, not mine. Hold on, you guys. Sorry, guys. Pool guy was letting me know our water level is a little high because we got some rain. And he's like, if it doesn't go down a little bit, let us know. Okay, thank you. I don't touch any of that shit. Okay, go on, Betty.
Bullying people. Your opinion does not, just because you think it doesn't make it true. Just because this small echo chamber of people don't like Bullhorn Betty, outside of YouTube, there's a whole world that I've been living in and submerged myself in because I've been.
There's a whole world out there. A whole new world. That's where she doesn't live.
On the ground around all these people that have watched my work, watch how I work on the ground, watch how I interview people.
Are you talking about the guy you spit on in Idaho? Is that one of the guys you're talking about that have watched you work? Whistle while you work.
Watch how my business is conducted and have high respect.
Oh, conducting business. Are you giving us an example of when you jumped out of traffic and approached Terry Bowersox and screamed, I'm on business. I'm conducting business, sir. Meanwhile, in the midst of traffic. Oh, is that an example that you want us to talk about?
In high regard for me.
Oh, they have high regard for her.
So even though they think their little echo chamber and bullying people is going to get their way, it might work a little bit on YouTube, but there's a collective body out there outside of this small little platform. There's billions of people, millions of people that have watched the work I do and applaud.
Billions and millions of people who have watched how she works and applaud it.
The work I do, whether
they applaud the work she does.
They like it or not.
Whether they like it or not. Nope. I got to shut up and play that all in full. Oh, Bets, this is...
Just because you think it doesn't make it true. Just because this small echo chamber of people don't like Bullhorn Betty, outside of YouTube, there's a whole world that I've been living in and submerged myself in because I've been boots on the ground around all these people that have watched my work, watch how I work on the ground, watch how I interview people, watch how my business is conducted, and have high respect and high regard for me. So even though they think their little echo chamber and bullying people is going to get their way, it might work a little bit on YouTube, but there's a collective body out there outside of this small little platform. There's billions of people, millions of people that have watched the work I do and applaud the work I do, whether they like it or not. And that's the reality of it. We're going to continue to move forward.
There are billions and millions of people who have watched the way she works and applaud it, whether they like it or not. Beddy, what's in that copy? Because right now it seems like it's got a whole lot of audacity in that coffee and delusion.
Forward, and we're going to continue to start holding all of these people accountable. And if we need to add people to it, from my understanding, if that's what needs to happen, that's what needs to happen.
I thought you were adding, like, if we need to add people to it. Ma'am, you were just yelling and screaming from the rooftops. There is 52 of you. There is 50 more does coming. So now it's if we need to add people. I thought that was already in play. 10 attorneys, 10 different states, 50 defendants.
So we're done with the bullying, and I can't make that and express that clear enough. This has nothing to do with about people talking about a case. They're allowed to talk about the case. Hell, they can even talk about how they don't like my commentary on the case. This is not what this lawsuit is.
Thank you for giving us permission to continue to laugh at you. The words that you put out here publicly. Thank you for giving us permission, Beddy.
It's about, okay?
Thank you for sacrificing yourself for our expense.
This is not about commentary. This is not about people disagreeing with what we say.
I thought this was exactly what it was about, was commentary that was interfering with the investigation in a search of a missing child. I thought that's exactly what the complaint says, is that this syndicate, this organized group of people, has harassed and stalked people and interfered with the active investigation into a missing child. But now you're telling us it's not about that? It's not about commentary?
This is about people coming together.
This is about people coming together.
To take people out, to cause...
To take people out. Say it ain't so.
Them major personal problems.
You know what I didn't hear her just say? That it was about interference in the investigation into a missing child. That's what I didn't hear her say. Well, we all knew that that wasn't what it was about, but in the complaint, that's what it outlines, that all of these things have harmed these people who are doing so much for the investigation and the search of Sebastian Rogers. What, Beddy?
Personal, reputational, professional, including financial. That's...
Yo, really? Caused financial damage, harm to you. Meanwhile, you're raising $15,000 to $30,000. I mean, you do you. That's you. Whatever.
That's what this is about. So if you guys can.
That's what this is all about. No mention of the harm into the investigation and the active search of Sebastian Rogers, right? You heard what she said. That's not what this is about. This is about taking people out.
I do appreciate everything that you guys are doing, but please support the good channels that are really trying to advocate for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Please ditch the hate channels that are causing all this animosity and all this chaos. Not only to...
Isn't encouraging people in your subs to unsub from people against terms of service? Isn't actively encouraging others to unsub against terms of service their bets?
Alternative media, but now they're setting their eyes on...
Oh, she's even doing the hands over the heart, like, I'm sacrificing all for you. Don't worry, I will lay down for all of you. Beddy, you don't even need to say you'd lay down for all of us. That's all you do. You usually broadcast from your bed on your back. Again, my interpretation and my opinion based on what you show us publicly.
Mainstream media. And they're starting to attack local channels to try to silence the local channels from covering a case. I want you to understand how dangerous that is. how dangerous that is.
I want you to understand how dangerous it is that people are commentating in regards to a segment that the news media put out here publicly to incite and target the family of a missing child. Once again, that's the dangerous spot, Betty. The news media is fine. The news station is totally fine. The dangerous part is continuing to play the victim here, Betty, while intentionally targeting and harassing a victim's family. That's dangerous. That's why you were restrained and have continued ever since.
Charlie Baby, Elevated Truth threatened me and my family, but I'm too scared. You know what, Charlie Baby? It doesn't hurt you to have a consultation. Okay? It doesn't hurt you to have
a consultation. It doesn't hurt you to have a consultation.
Have a private, anonymous consultation.
Private, anonymous consultation with who?
With doxing at night.agency.
Oh, Nick. With Nick. A private, you think that's going to be private and confidential? Okay. All right. I see you.
Okay. If you want it to end, and no matter how scared you are, sometimes the best results comes from a scariest situation of our life. If this was happening to your child, what would you be willing to do? And if you'd be willing to at least have a consultation, then that's what you need to do for yourself.
Oh, not this emotional manipulation once again. Would you do it for your child? Betty, you're nobody's child. You do have parents. I'm not saying that. But these people, you want these people to do it for you because you're the sacrificial lamb that you need everybody to rally behind, right?
With doxing at night.agency. Okay. If you want it to end, and no matter how scared you are, sometimes the best results comes from a scariest situation of our life. If this was happening to your child, what would you be willing to do? And if you'd be willing to at least have a consultation, then that's what you need to do for yourself. Because you got to understand your children are watching you. And they're watching you how you behave. You can either be a strong person, or you can teach them, to back down. And I don't know if those are good life lessons.
Anybody want to handle that one for me? Because what I'm going to say is probably not going to be PC at all in the slightest or YouTube appropriate. She is absolutely recruiting and emotionally manipulating people. That would you do it for your child? Are you a broke, weak soul that won't stand up for yourself? Nah, you dumb bitch. A lot of us teach our children not to act like a fucking fool and think that they're so entitled that there's not repercussions for their actions. My children know if they're out here stalking and harassing somebody going through their worst time, that they are going to have consequences for their actions. That's what most of us teach our children, but you wouldn't know that again because you don't have children. Whatever. Most of us don't teach our kids that you can just go do this to every other human being and you will still be the victim if you just play it up enough.
You've got to make that decision for yourself. Definitely don't want to push anybody to do anything. But if you have been a victim of these people and you need this stuff to stop, please reach out to doxing at night.agency. The at symbol, then at night, night.agency. Okay. Please come forward if you have a story. It does not hurt you to have a consultation, to go over your story with Nick or one of his team members that are handling this investigation.
I would suggest if you are going to do this, that you only, if you're wanting to do that, again, you're an adult, you have to make up your own mind. But I would suggest only dealing with the professional attorneys. Again, there is article after article about these people's previous behavior and engagements. Carry on.
Remember, they are a very good intelligence agency. Are they media?
They are a very good intelligence agency. What have they provided for anybody of substance? Like, where's the stories of things that they've unfolded and unraveled?
Agency? Yes, they have two sectors of their agency. They have at night media and at night intelligence agency. So you've got the best of both worlds, in my opinion, when it comes to working with.
Whose jingle was it that you've got the best of both worlds? Is that a Miley Cyrus run?
With them. These
Hannah
people have
Montana.
worked their tails off. They have listened to us and they got to.
Yeah, Revival, that would be common sense. Like, if you are actually being stalked, harassed, threatened, go to law enforcement, your local law enforcement, file a report. That seems to be something that every one of these people has missed. They claim that they're threatened, harassed, stalked, in danger of their lives, but there's zero police reports to back up any of this whatsoever from any of them. I mean, even in the one exhibit, there's people outside of a home, and the one thing that's not included is the police report and the follow-up with the law enforcement.
Work. We supplied them a whole bunch of information. They did their own due diligence and they were able to connect all the dots. And so that's where we're at now. This was a huge effort from many people to bring this action. And trust me, this
It took them 75 people to clip the few things that they had, write up the declarations that they have, and gather some news articles. Something me solely over here did in under 30 minutes. But I also didn't have to put a whole lot of forethought into what I was going to write. That sounded just like every other declaration that was written to emotionally manipulate people. Okay. So I guess maybe that did take 75 people to come up with the correct words.
was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do.
Oh,
but it's the right thing to do, in all fairness, because
this is one of the hardest things she's ever had to do. She's falling on the sword for everybody. Harassing and stalking a victim's family. It's the hardest thing she's ever had to do. Meanwhile, she's got a pattern of doing it for years. Laws in Florida had to change. Ordinances in Georgia were put in place. Oh, Beddy.
That's where we're at now. This was a huge effort from many people to bring this action. And trust me, this was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But it's the right thing to do, in all fairness, because this has got to come to an end. Otherwise, somebody is going to lose their life on this platform by these bullies.
Really? Really? You don't say so, you evil fucking bitch. Sue me for that. Meanwhile, you have intentionally tried to target the mother of a missing child based on your theories, your speculation, rumors, outright lies about the mother of a missing child. Going through the worst time, you have mocked her mental health, laughed about when you supposedly got emails that she was saying that she might end it all, which was fake to begin with. But you thought that was just A-okay. You thought that was A-okay there, Bets. You remember all that? Because I sure do. I remember when you were talking about how you supposedly got this email from an anonymous source about Katie claiming that she was going through the worst time and, was at her rope's end. And instead of being caring and concerning, because you only are caring about the victims over here. So the missing child's mother, you think, is going through the worst moment of their life. And instead of showing care and concern or making sure that they're okay, you brought it publicly for content and mocked her and have continued to harass them and keep them under surveillance, completely ignoring judges' orders to restrain your behavior. Oh, Beddy. Oh, Beddy.
And that there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And we can't have that, because all lives matter, even though these people don't believe so, and these people don't care. because we know they don't care about a 20-month-old child. We know.
Are we really doing this, Betty? All lives matter. Are we really trying this, Bets? You're trying it all right now. This is embarrassing, Betty. I hope you watch this back and go, oh, that was some of my worst acting yet.
They don't care about a 15-year-old medically needy child, and we know that they don't care about any of us. They care about greed and power. That's all they care about.
Oh, is my friend Brenda back that's standing? Brenda, have you gotten to sit down? I know yesterday you told us all. Brenda, record away. Who's recording it, Brenda? Tell me a name so I can give him a shout out. Brenda, did you get to sit down yet? Yesterday it was hashtag I stand with Brittany. I told you, luckily for you, she don't stand very often, so you'll be sitting down a lot. But who's recording? Please tell me so I can give him a shout out. Would it be Yvette again? Brenda, where'd you go? Where'd you go, Brenda? Hey, Brenda. Guess what? I hope you record every single second of every video on my page. They're all up, publicly available. There's some on members. You might really like the ones where I take a blowtorch and a black light to scorpions. Or the ones where I play with mini cows. You might really like that too. Make sure you get all those. Make sure you do. And next time you think that anybody's going to be worried about them recording our content, remember, we put this stuff out here publicly. Record away and have the day you so much deserve, Brenda. I hope you don't have to stand too much, because luckily for you, a lot of these people will be falling flat on their face.
And anything to obtain that, they're willing to do, including destroying people. This is not normal, I don't like your commentary. This is going too far. And with all the evidence that has been compiled, I don't think a judge is going to be able to dispute that.
All the evidence that has been compiled. News media sources and interviews, that is hearsay and a bunch of words, not fact basis. Declarations that are claims with no proof. Timelines of things about people looking in windows with no police reports. Clips of public YouTube live streams. Okay, this is evidence. Okay, I gotcha. I'm sure we're just missing the rest of the 500 some pages, right, with the actual evidence, because right now we have a bunch of claims.
So our commentary, they can plaster my commentary about a case all day long, but that's a public interest case. How are they going to say that I've done any nasty thing to them? Because I haven't. The only thing I've ever...
Oh, Brenda, come back. We got to have a meeting right quick. Brenda, did you hear what Betty just said? Did you hear what Betty just said? She just defended me. Record away, but she's saying that it's a public interest case. I can commentate all I want to. But I didn't need any of your permission to do it. It's called fair use under the copyright statute. And it's also kind of what YouTube was based off of, is review and commentary. You know, there's that. But here's Betty telling you, Brenda, that this is allowed.
This is going too far. And with all the evidence that has been compiled, I don't think a judge is going to be able to dispute that. So our commentary, they can plaster my commentary about a case all day long, but that's a public interest case. How are they going to say that I've done any nasty thing to them? Because I haven't. The only thing I've ever done is defend myself here and there. But for the most part, we don't talk about other creators. We don't talk about go out and try to bully people into submission. We don't.
Wait a moment. Betty, You don't talk about other creators. Do you remember the comments you made about Jay for Justice and the wide open cooter? Do you remember all the comments you made about her personal life? Do you remember all the comments that you made about JLR and his girlfriend and how scorned you were over that relationship? Do you remember all the times you've talked about Queen Bee? Do you remember all the time you've talked about Molly? You don't talk about creators though, right? You've even talked about what a useless idiot BJ was. Yikes. Yikes there, Bets.
You don't sit there and do any of that.
In fact, at one time, I think you were almost critical of Nick the Hat. Huh.
We try to hold ourselves to a higher standard because
Oh.
let's face it, these types of people are below us.
Oh, Betty, I don't think these people could get below you. That bar is dug so far in the ground, it's like deeper than 6 feet under. So they would have to crawl under that bar to get beneath you.
They will never be happy within their own skin. They'll never be happy in life. People don't do nasty and dirty.
All of us who commentate on their public behavior are miserable, horrible, don't have a life, wretched, black-souled, petty Betty, trash bag Karen, having asses. We have no lives, no happiness, no nothing because we don't like certain individuals' behavior. Yep, chalk it up. Totally jealous of the Bets and the wonderful life she lives.
Dirty things to other people and actually have a happy and productive life. So all of these people, I mean, think about it psychologically and statistically. These people are very unhinged and have
psychologically and statistically. Meanwhile, the only one that I know of that's been in jail recently is you, Betty. The only one facing 6 violations of a protection order is you, Betty. Huh.
a lot of issues in their own personal life to be this way.
I mean, sure shit, we all got issues. Absolutely. Who doesn't have issues? Most of us don't have them like you do, though.
Public eye. So that's really all I want to say about that. I know we're getting up to where it's about time to go in and watch Leilani's trial.
That's about all she wants to say about that, folks. Betty is the sacrificial lamb for the FYTA, Future YouTubers of America. When in doubt, Betty is going to figure it out. They're going to set case law and precedents over a thing about a thing. It's going to change everything because poor Betty has been a victim of her own circumstances that she's created.
Just want to tell everybody I love you. I thank you so much for all of your love and support, all the anonymous people that...
Oh, we're back to the hand over the heart. You each have a piece of her heart.
I understand why you have to be anonymous.
Probably better to have a piece of her heart than a piece of her ass, truly. I mean, JLR. I don't know if you'll ever...
Which is sad.
Be the same.
Because you should have a right to support who you want without fear of intimidation and...
Wait, wait, I thought you were just telling people that they should unsub people that disagree with you. But now you're telling people they have a right to choose who to support. Oh, Betty.
What is the word I'm looking for?
Sorry, I got to speed her up.
Attacks, and people are having to donate anonymously because they don't want to be bullied and attacked by these people. I want that to sink into a lot of people.
People are having to donate anonymously because they don't want to be attacked. Or more like they're embarrassed to show their public support of you. Maybe that's more it, because they're embarrassed by your actions, but they're still wrapped up in it. I mean, that could be too, right?
You're on this platform, but they can't even stand proud without being in fear of retaliation, intimidations, and attacks. That's pretty scary. That's pretty scary. That should not be on any platform. As a matter of fact, there are so many laws across this country to prevent cyberbullying. We are in a bully awareness month, and these people still haven't gotten a clue.
Speaking of the clueless ones, there are laws to prevent cyberbullying. Meanwhile, that's all she's been doing for the last going on 5-6 months to the family of a missing child. There's laws to prevent it. But when the laws are actually put in play to restrain her from continuing her behavior, They don't apply. It's corruption. Look over there, not over here, nothing to see here. I didn't do any of this stuff. They all did it to me. It was me. I drove from Florida to Tennessee to intentionally do these things, but I didn't do anything. They did it all to me.
And they are so delusional and so filled with hate. Nothing is going to stop them but a judge. But a judge. That's it.
Oh, and a judge did attempt to stop you. And you are, in my opinion, kind of spitting in the judge's face by disregarding the orders that the judge put on you. Okay. So what you're telling us is even if a judge signs those, nobody is held accountable, right? Okay.
And they're trying to find a way to flip this around and turn this around, but they just don't understand. None of us talk about them like they do. None of us go real life like they do. They're going to.
Whatever air she's breathing, I don't. That is some delusional ass shit.
And all this stuff is going to be front and center in this case. So, I mean, we talk about cases. If they don't like our commentary, so stinking what? It should not result in me losing my channel or me going to jail over lies. So,
losing your channel, ma'am, you still have your channel.
Again, we're trying to stand strong here. We need the support of the true crime community. If you guys can, please, by all means, hit up that GoFundMe. If you only have $1, $1 will do. God bless every.
Oh, we're back into you need funds. You didn't do anything. Support me because I didn't do anything. Poor me.
Every single one of you that are supporting, and I understand if you've got to go and do anonymous contribution to that. I understand that, and that's perfectly fine with me. I just appreciate all of the
y'all. I don't think True Crime Buzz. Just so you know, in the comment section, I see your comments. I do not think that True Crime Buzz is her. Absolutely do not. That is somebody else. That is my opinion. I've never seen any proof that actually even remotely makes me believe that that channel is hers. Unfortunately, there's just many people out here that have these same delusions, in my opinion. But I do not think True Crime Buzz is her channel at all.
Love and support that you and the rest of this community have done. We don't do GoFundMe's. I hate GoFundMe's. I hate collecting and raising money. I don't mind doing it, small wise, for a trip here and there, but I don't do GoFundMe's. And so for me to go to a GoFundMe that tells you the situation that we're currently in. Oh, thank you, DNA. Good morning.
Oh yeah, they're getting up there with their GoFundMe as far as funds collected because the entire team, Mr. and Mrs. E, Brittany J, Spanky, all of the team is using the whole Seth goes into chats while they are pushing the GoFundMe, and he tells everybody that by helping Beddy's GoFundMe, it is in turn helping Seth and helping Sebastian. So they are absolutely getting up there in the thousands the last time I saw anything.
Morning, guys. Good morning. We're going to continue to advocate for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. We have a good understanding of what most likely transpired. Now, we do have new information, breaking news from Silver's on the scene, right? We have breaking news from Silver's on the scene about...
sniffers in the air. Silver's on the scene. We have breaking news. Oh, tell us about it, Beddy.
What is it? The timesheets, so to speak, for the stepfather in this case. And it appears, according to the reporting of Silver's on the scene...
Is she in a fucking trance right now? She's not, you guys, she's not frozen. Her eyes are frozen. Let's look at this in full. Beddy, where'd you go here? Look at this in normal time.
Timesheets, so to speak, for the stepfather in this case. And it appears, according to the reporting of Silver's on the scene, which I know has no problem walking and talking. I know for a fact does not have a problem.
I would hope the man doesn't have a problem walking and talking. I mean, you would think you would be able to do those two tasks at the same time. What, Beddy? He also can sniff the air and bloop, just dropping off bodies.
Getting the facts, asking the right questions. He's proven himself to be not only a great searcher, but also a great investigator, and for investigative reporting purposes.
Oh, has he now? Has he now? Going out and buying a shovel, talking to psychics and getting tips on where to go, sniffing the air across the road from the RV park, bloop, dropping off bodies, taking false emails and going to Walmart and demanding to see security footage and making up a whole concocted story about how somebody stomped their foot and yelled Proudfoot. Oh yeah, he is right up there with the best of the best. Absolutely.
And he's been really hitting stuff out of the park. And according to his latest report, the stepfather doesn't appear to have been to work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
Oh yeah, he's the one that was hollering into Sebastian into tunnels. Yep, that would be him. He's the one that we talk about. Bloop, just dropping off a body.
That's what we are being reported by Silvers on the scene. And if that's true, that brings Terry Lynn's assessment that there may have been a poker game at.
Oh, and here we are back to the whole thing. Let me remind you all, law enforcement has been involved in this case since February 26, 2024. Not just Sumner County, the TBI, the FBI, and the Secret Service, to name a few. If they have a problem with Chris's alibi or his work schedule or not being able to vet his alibi, they will be the ones to handle it. This whole lie about this poker party, Beddy, you claimed so boldly that you debunked that. Isn't it funny that a lot of the misinformation has trickled from Terry Lynn to other people and then spread? It's almost like it was intentional feeding misinformation to certain people to get them to run with it. Huh.
uh, Danny's house, and the computer may have been confiscated and downloaded or forensically inspected from Danny's house. This is giving a lot of different questions. And the other thing is does this bring back the relevance of potentially there being 3 people at dinner at the Texas Roadhouse? Another question that I have, but we'll see how that all works out. But it always calls into question, and I've heard a lot of people on social media. I've been reading the social media threads. I've been reading the Reddit threads. I've been reading the comments here and on this channel.
Betty has been reading all the threads to get her misinformation from. Here's a reminder of who Silvers on the scene is. For those of you that might not be aware, I've covered him a few different times, quite a few times on this channel. But in case you didn't know what we're talking about in the comment section, here you go.
This river, there's cars, you see them 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Maybe you just pull over and bloop, drop off a body. Headed to Hendersonville.
This is the guy. This is the all incredible investigative source that they have right here.
3, 4, 5 in the morning. Maybe you just pull over and bloop, drop off a body. Headed to Henderson.
Just like that. Just bloop, dropping off a body. Investigative skills to the finest. Carry on, Betty.
And it appears that, how do I want to put this? I shouldn't say appears. The questions that have been asked were, it seems odd that somebody would have a 4-day weekend and then not go home. Those are the comments that I've been seeing a great deal of online. Now, I don't know how to answer that. I won't answer that even if I do until I'm out of this bull crap over in Sumner County, because apparently I'm the only person in America that's not allowed to have an opinion on a public interest case.
Oh, the Betts is a martyr. Or here is another reminder of this investigator and his fine skills. This is once again courtesy of Sniffers on the Scene. You might want to have your volume up for this one.
All right. So I'm gonna get out of here. I just don't feel comfortable going in there. I got the willies. Silver's on the Scene has the willies for going as far as he did. I just don't think it's safe to walk through there. I think I have an okay sniffer smell, you know, like a dead animal or something. I thought I caught a smell of something, but I want to walk over here a little bit more.
Just out here doing his duty to society, sniffing the air. He thinks he could smell a dead body, or, you know, he's got the willies, but he's got a good sniffer on him.
So, you know, I can talk about it, but apparently I'm not allowed to have an opinion because it's a vendetta. A vendetta of what? I'm not that invested in this case. I'm just bringing the truth to light. And yeah, did I lose my cool? Of course I did, because it's okay to lose your cool when somebody's stalking you. And it's okay to show your heart when you're upset about some things. It's all part of the show. Our passion is part of the show. Our frustration is part of the show. Our happiness and finding things are part of the show. All of the emotions that a human being goes through when covering a case like this and watching a case from the sidelines are presented on this show to validate your understanding, to validate how you feel, to make sure you're not alone. And
you've got a friend in her. Betty, are you okay?
This is just insanity. So apparently,
could she log off when she said bye? She's trying to take my Midwest goodbyes here, and it's not working.
The powers that be, maybe they're just too backwoods. I don't know. That's not
powers that be. Maybe they're just too backwoods. What's that? What's that statement supposed to mean there, Bets?
I don't dig either. Maybe they just don't. They don't understand. They can't crucify somebody because they.
Betty, your ignorance is showing once again.
They choose not to understand, and that's what they're doing. It is starting to get crazy, and there's no doubt that this is ridiculously insane. It's because you've got all these people that think they have a right, if they don't like you and don't like your commentary and don't like what you're doing, that they can literally destroy your life. And if they can't do it in the public, then they're allowed to do it by the use of your family, by attacking your family, by attacking your mods, by attacking your business.
The irony of all of this, if she can't get what she wants out of you, like a reaction out of Katie and Chris, then she targets the people around them. The irony of all of this right here. Somebody asked for this one. I gotcha. This is Silver's on the Scene in his investigative work that she was talking about.
I've got to go get a better flashlight. I thought this was good. Sebastian? You can't even see. It's so dark. Sebastian. Sebastian Rogers, my name is Michael. I'm here to help you. Are you in there, son? Son, I want to take you home to your dad, Seth Rogers. Are you in there? Can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to go get another flashlight so I can possibly see better. I'm not here to harm you. I'm here to help you. Bring you home. So the guy watching the You can hear the thing there. I gave him a flyer. He's going to be on the Outlook. He does not know. He didn't even know this pipe was here. Along with the email.
Y'all, by the way, just so everybody is aware, we don't laugh at the fact that Sebastian is missing. We laugh at these characters and the absolute insanity and ridiculousness that they continue to put out here publicly. There is nothing funny about what they are doing to a missing child's case, period, point blank, end of story. But we do absolutely make a mockery out of these people and the noise that they have created. Thankfully, they have nothing to do with Sebastian's actual case. They are the noise surrounding it. So yes, we absolutely mock the fuck out of them and laugh at their ridiculousness. There is nothing funny about a missing child. We keep it very compartmentalized over here. But thankfully, these people have nothing to do with the actual investigation into Sebastian. These people are characters of the clown show that they have created. That's it. That's all. But yes, he not only does that, he goes on to, let's see, there's another one. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so look how these pipes go together. Are we getting that? Are we seeing that? Okay. It looks like it just ends down there. Ah, this makes me feel so good. Even that does a pretty good job. Okay, so take a look. Sebastian. Okay, so more to come. We're going all the way back there now. Sebastian.
This guy's a complete clown.
Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers, are you in here? Not getting any response. Make it look closer. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. This thing's echoing back and it was freaking me out at first, but I thought somebody was answering, but they're not. It's my own.
The echo is freaking him out. The guy gets the willies looking at a house right off of a road, like 10 yards off of a main road. And now in a very public area looking in a pipe, he's scared because it's echoing back his own voice. But he's an incredible investigator, according to Beddy.
Own words. So take a look, just so you can see. It's clear. It's hard to see on this camera. I have a spider web. Let me see. If I do it like this, like that. Okay. There we go. See that? It's clear.
I'm genuinely shocked that he hasn't had a 5150 called on him yet, truly, because if I saw a person out here running, Anyways, let's go back to Beddy. There's her investigator that she is saying is such an asset.
Business associates. Do you see how this is? This is definitely.
Yes, that was Sniffers.
Emily's outside and Delilah wants to go out and play with Emily. She hears her barking. Emily's barking to Delilah to let her know she's out, and Delilah's barking to Emily, letting her know she's locked in this house, and mommy's not letting her out to go play, and she wants to go play. You want to go play with Emily, don't you? I can hear Emily barely barking through the door, and my hearing's not good. So, all right, guys. Well, that's kind of what I have. I have a lot more to discuss. We're going to be going over the interviews. We got to go on to our next interview and have a discussion about that. We'll be doing that later this afternoon, most likely this evening. I'm going to try to do an early evening live. We need to get back in the realm of things because I've only been doing one live.
No. This person that I'm showing over here is Sniffers. Here, let me go to here. This is Sniffers, aka Silver's on the scene. I think I was I don't know for sure, one of the first channels that reviewed this guy when he came on the scene. And one of the first videos we reviewed was the one of him sniffing the air. He had been driving by their house and getting footage of their house on his camera in his car, his back cameras, and sending it to people. So I started paying attention to him because he was funneling videos, keeping the family driving by their homes, going to the RV park. So I started reviewing him and pushing back. And the first video I think we did was like a late night stream, a deep thought stream. If you know how that goes over here, it's a shit show. Anyways, and he was sniffing the air. And then we were just blooping, dropping off bodies. And we all started calling him Sniffers in the Air. But his name is Silvers on the Scene. But we all call him, anybody around here refers to him as Sniffers. That's what we all call him, and that's why. Just like Spanky. Spanky is, when we refer to, if you see anybody referring to a creator by the name of Spanky, that was my fault too. A lot of us call Justin for all, Clutch Them Pearls, Hey Sweet Tea, Spanky. When I started reviewing him 2 years ago, randomly one day I was like, in this Spanky ass, I don't even remember. I started calling him Spanky. Probably the nicest term I could have ever thought of, and it's stuck. Don't know why, don't know how, but when you hear people refer to Spanky, it's Justin. And a lot of it is because Justin reminds me of Stuart Smalley from Mad TV. You're good enough, you're smart enough, and gosh darn it, nobody really likes him. But they pretend to because he's such a nice guy. He's also referred to as the melatonin of YouTube, the Ambien of YouTube. Wallpaper is one of my favorites too. Some people call him Jaundice because of his bronzer. That's that. Okay, Betty's going to take us home.
Live a day. And it's because of the internet issues that's going out and why I have to be on the phone so much because it's in, it's out, it's in, it's out. But so far today, I haven't had any problems with the internet. I've got the TV on in the living room, making sure the internet is.
If you are new here and have questions about our nicknames, because pretty much everybody I review has a nickname. They end up with a nickname. It's just something that we do. Like the neighbor, I call her Bullshit and Bobby. Crime Lines and Lines is crime lies and bullshittery usually. Like, it just comes out and it kind of sticks for a lot of these people. So if you get confused about who we're talking about, just ask. The comments know.
Is rolling good because I only have internet TV. So if the TV freezes, I know I've got internet problems. So we're doing good there. But I will tell you, and
by the way, for the comment section, if you could do me a favor when you're typing in Beddy, if we could all switch it to Beddy, Betty with a D instead of a T, it's much more enjoyable to read the comments because Betty is always in bed. She's got bed bugs. It's just fitting. Betty with a DD instead of a TT.
We are going to continue to advocate for Sebastian Rogers. We're not going to keep our audience in the light despite what Sumner County wants us to do. We're not going to lie to our audience. We're not going to run their narrative because they want us to. There's freedom of the press in this country, and the government's not going to tell me that I cannot tell my audience, my fact finding, what I found out about this case.
That is courtesy of Revival, the BEDD. Revival with me were texting one day and it auto corrected to DD and it's stuck ever since and it's fitting as fuck.
With shoe leather work and the evidence that we have not only submitted to the team, but submitted over to law enforcement as a result of the work we've done. We're not going to go into that. And just because Sumner County doesn't have it doesn't mean it wasn't turned in. So I'm over it.
Wait, what? Hold on. Did she say just because they don't have it doesn't mean it? Wait, I got to listen to this again.
This case with shoe leather work and the evidence that we have not only submitted to the team, but submitted over to law enforcement as a result of the work we've done. We're not going to go into that. And just because Sumner County doesn't have it doesn't mean it wasn't turned in. So I'm over it. I'm getting back to my job. I'm getting back to my work.
What job, Betty? What job?
Which should not be infringed on by my government.
the government infringing on your job? Don't you have to have a job for the government to infringe on it? And seems to me if you call YouTube your job, you haven't been infringed on at all.
Especially a small little town like Sumner County, out of this whole entire country, telling me that I can't have my First Amendment rights to cover a case when I'm out of all the people out here on these.
That's not what they told you, Betty. They told you you couldn't stalk and harass a victim's family and keep them under surveillance and incite your followers to do crazy things on your behalf. Oh, Betty, comprehension's hard. Have you gotten the orders yet and read them? Or are we still pretending like you have it?
Streets. I'm the only one that have sold my interviews and news articles to places like TMZ.
Oh, no, you're not the only one that has sold news articles. No, Molly's got you beat. Molly sold an article to, I think it was Star Magazine, about her one night affair or whatever with Nick Carter. You aren't the only one that's selling stories out here there, Bets. Don't take Molly's fame from her.
The only one that out of all these little people on this internet that have been,
I think it was, I'm going to look. I think it was Star. I have it. But she was really proud of that. Don't be taking Molly's fame from her about selling articles to tabloids.
Interviewed by Australian news, European news, French news. Hell, I was even interviewed by Telemundo. I mean, from all over the world. People that flew in.
I would love to see the translation of those.
From the UK to put me in a documentary. People that.
But I thought you've been so negatively impacted, and now you're giving us this whole list of things that you've done. So you can't have it both ways. Has your professional ability been diminished and your income been affected? Or are you still doing just fine? Sounds to me like you're doing just fine.
I worked with Paramount, as far as true blue, investigative reporting, alternative media that has been well recognized by not only mainstream media, but also documentaries. And then a person, after all of that, telling me I'm not media, there's something wrong with that person. Sorry, not sorry.
That was a judge that told you that because of the press credentials you used as evidence in your RO hearing. That was a judge that told you that. I mean, a lot of people sell stories that aren't media at all. I think you would fit in that category. A lot of celebrities that I doubt have ever claimed to be media have sold stories to tabloids. Can you brag about this Paramount documentary that you were in while missing the point that they made you look like a complete fool, in my opinion?
But I have constitutional rights and freedom of press, and I'm going to be leaning on those moving forward. And quite.
I thought you've already been leaning on those. I thought that's what you've already been doing. That's how you know that there's corruption and all this targeted stuff against you. I thought that's where you got the source of your fight back.
Frankly, there's going to be a lot more documentaries and movies that are going to be coming up.
Oh, is there? Is there really? Say it ain't so. Betty's a documentary hoe. No. Did you just out the goal here? I love it when you guys do this. You just keep giving us exactly what we have all been saying. Keep talking, Betty. Keep talking. We love it for you.
Not even related to this case, related to other cases that I have covered. What are they going to say then? I'm still not media? I'm over it. I'm over it. I don't need a judge telling me, well, what is...
Actors and actresses are not considered media. I mean, truly, they're not. Being in a documentary does not make you media in any way, shape, or form. Hey, Cash Kernan, Family Justice.
What is the press? What are you're a judge that should have a good understanding of the First Amendment. That was one of the first things that were drilled into our heads when we were in paralegal school. Was
Mr. Tomato Head. You know, you're speaking my language now. when I'm done with this one, I'm going to pull up something else from Mr. and Mrs. E's last night.
The Constitution and the limitations, like drilled in our head, like so much so that that's the one thing that I have retained more so rather than any other teaching in school that I ever had. Thank you, Julie. So to not know what the limitations or what the requirements to be press are, that to me is very concerning. Very, very, very concerning. I'm going into the lion's den. I anticipate the judge not being favorable, despite this being clear First Amendment. But somehow he's going to find a way to flip some hashtags into either direct or indirect contact, when we all know, everybody here that is on social media knows there's no way hashtags can contact anybody. I never physically or verbally told anybody to reach out to these people. If they got people spying on me, that's a violation of their no contact order. That's a violation of their no contact order. So I'd like to see how this plays out, but I don't trust this judge, and I damn sure don't trust this county. And I don't care if me not trusting them and saying that vocally is going to get me in more trouble with this judge, because I'm going to make sure that my statements are stated very clearly on these platforms as I'm going in here to be before this same judge that has already violated my rights. So I'm not going to,
Back to the judge violated her rights. This is going to land really well for her right here. All of this is going to land so good for her. I just love to hear her talk. Keep on talking, Betty. Keep on talking.
I anticipate him willing to violate my rights again for the people, right?
He's telling you that she's scared shitless and they're throwing every stall tactic at this that they can. She knows she is violated, in my opinion, based on her actions and what she's saying here. She knows that she is likely facing more violations based on the orders that have been put in place. Again, I've been trying to say a lot of this is stall tactics, fluff, puffering, distractions, intentional distractions. Well, she's telling you herself.
The taxpayers there. I hope he looks at his grandchildren, because he has a right to uphold the law, whether he likes me or not, and do the right thing. But you know what? If he needs a Supreme...
Wait, was that a veiled threat, Betty, to a judge?
Rights again for the people, right? The tax...
Hold on, I want to put this, it's normal speed, okay.
Taxpayers there. I hope he looks at his grandchildren, because he has a right to uphold the law, whether he likes me or not, and do the right thing. But you know what? If he needs a...
Why does he need to look at his grandchildren? I want to play that once again. Like, what is this creepy shit here, Bets? This probably isn't smart to be doing to a judge, an elected official. What the hell? Are you okay, Betty?
I hope he looks at his grandchildren, because he has a right to uphold the law, whether he likes me or not, and do the right thing. But you know what? If he needs a Supreme Court or appeal to slap him into common sense, I don't know. But I don't know how they're going to ever be able to prove that hashtags contact anybody, because you go search Google, go search it right now and say, can hashtag.
It's indirect contact. It's for the algorithm. KB said, you have made my day so much better. Some days it's hard to see the good amidst the bad. The light at the end of the tunnel is not a train. Thank you for exposing the BS. Thank you for your support, KB's opinion. One thing I was thinking is I wish we could get, and I don't know if she would even be okay with doing this, but I wish that WKRN would interview the lawyer Mystery Maven for her project that she has upcoming, and also for a bigger, broader, like, investigative piece into what happens to families and their victims, not just in particular to this case, but I think it would be a great, if they're interested in what actually happens to families and their victims, or victims and their families, excuse me, I'm backwards today. I wish they would take the time and really sit down with somebody like the lawyer Mystery Maven, who is doing something in an advocacy role for all victims and their families and not be so, on this case. They wouldn't even have to speak about this, but what happens to them overall. It would be a great thing because she has an amazing project coming up that she's working on too. I wish they would do that. That's truly something I wish they would do and sit down and do a real piece on it. That's something I was thinking, but
contact anyone. I guarantee Google says no. But I'm pretty sure the judge won't take that into consideration, right? Because it's not about the truth. It's not about the law. It's about shutting me up. And it's clear because they never even seen me. They never even told the.
This kind of shows you exactly that filing that was placed in Pennsylvania, in my opinion, once again, was kind of to start all of this other stuff here and somehow stall. Like, those things are completely separate. No matter if you think that the stuff that was filed in Pennsylvania or not has merit, totally different situation, but they are using that to mix in with Beddy's RO and the violations and claim it's all some sort of coordinated thing. I think it's intentional distractions, deflection, and stall tactics that are being used. But she, in the beginning of this, was mixing them all together.
The judge, I threatened them. They told them nothing. It went from me stalking to them to, oh, they don't like my commentary and it's defaming. And so the judge says, oh, well, they're defaming you. So, hey, that must be harassment. So even though you're not stalking, we're going to say you're harassing them. Well, that's not the requirements for a protective order. And they have absolute other recourse like defamation and civil complaints here in Florida. They can file against me if they so feel that I have reported incorrectly on their case.
You actually claimed in one of your segments, and I've clipped that and it's in previous videos, that you claimed that they could come after you in Florida and you had access to pro bono attorneys in Florida. Whatever happened to that, Beddy?
But, that's just.
And the fact of it is it's different because you drove your ass from Florida to Tennessee, jumped out in traffic, spoke on getting a GoFundMe for a pew pew, went by their house, posted flyers on their property, kept them under surveillance, went to his job site, went to his RV park. You did all of that, showing intent to continue. And even after you were warned, you went again. You acknowledged driving by the Bowersox home. You've acknowledged doing all these things. You videotaped yourself proudly doing all this stuff. And maybe they just will take you civilly in Florida also. This doesn't prevent the other from happening.
They don't want to do it the right way. They want to do it the sneaky, underhand, and corrupt way. And it's being co-signed by a sheriff's department and a courthouse.
I thought your attorney told you to stop speaking about the county and the judge. And now you're even mentioning the judge's grandchildren? Beddy.
Sessions courthouse, the lowest level of court hearing as possible. And they're going to try to throw me in jail for a year because they don't like my commentary. Talk about so un-American.
Actually, you're facing 6 violations, and I think each of them hold upwards of 11 plus months. I don't know how much you'll serve, if you'll serve anything. I have no clue. I'm just a spectator of the games you're playing. It's kind of like donkey basketball. You're the ass.
It's disgusting. And once this is all over, if this county, it doesn't matter. It's going to have to get out of this county. It's going to have to go up to a higher court. These people are not reasonable. They're not fair. They're not listening to reason. And they want me to fight for it. They don't understand. I'm willing.
Courts listen to evidence. Judges rule off of evidence, a preponderance of evidence, not feelings. That's what you're missing, Beddy. I thought you were so skilled in legal knowledge.
I'm going to fight for it, and so is my audience. So I do appreciate each and every one of you here fighting with me. and supporting me in this fight. This is a First Amendment issue, and this has to be protected at all costs.
Has nothing to do with the First Amendment. Betty being restrained from stalking and harassing the Proudfoot family and the Bowerslocks family has nothing to do with the violation of the First Amendment. They are not trying to take her speech. They are not trying to do anything like that. They are trying to prevent her from further harm of a family of a missing child. That's it. This whole First Amendment, the Constitution, again, big words to muddy in, to play off of people's exhaustion from election season and the overwhelming stuff with the political environment going on. This is all she's doing. It's called fear mongering at its finest. People are so afraid and everybody's at a very heightened state, and she is going to try to weaponize that to her ability. We've been calling it for months.
We know our government has been chipping away at our rights for years. We cannot give our voices up. If we give our voices up, this country's done. This country is done. So I appreciate you guys. Let's make it about Sebastian. Let's continue to make this about Sebastian. We need to start getting refocused, but we're never going to find this boy until we know where he's at. How are we going to know?
Wow, Betty, really? Really? That was like the most genius thing I've ever heard you say right there. Let's listen to that again. Make sure you clip this because this is like making history right here with these statements. Betty is falling on the sword for everybody else, the sacrificial lamb, making claims like this that are just, holy shit, I never thought about that until you said it. I see clear now because of you, Betty.
It's about Sebastian. We need to start getting refocused, but we're never going to find this boy until we know where he's at. How are we?
We're never going to find this boy until we know where he's at. Wow. Definitely Mensa level brilliance right there. Brilliance. Golf clap brilliance.
Going to know where he's at. Following the damn leads.
Oh.
That's how we're going to know. Okay? And the people that were in and around this child's life. I'm not able to do it. So I make sure I'm not associated with anybody that is. So.
Oh, really? Really? You're not associated with those people? Hallucinogenic Recipe says, pass the same laws that were passed in Florida everywhere else. This clown shows up and you potentially solve the issue and shut down her BS down. This has nothing to do with free speech. Absolutely. It has nothing to do with free speech. Thank you for the support too. This is absolutely insane. Like, yeah, this is all intentional. This is just too emotionally. We talked about this last night. They're amping up their audiences because Betty's the martyr. Betty is the sacrificial lamb. They've all got to rally around. And in order to do that, they all have their different assignments to emotionally exhaust their audiences, and they need money for an appeal.
If that's not obstructing a investigation, I don't know what is, right? We have a right to be investigative reporters, and never in my life have I ever been obstructed from being able to do my job, except in Sumner County. What do they have to hide? What do they have to hide? That's my question. And why are people, because we hear what's going on the streets. We hear what people say. We hear things that are coming out of their own department.
Their own department? Really?
Hear these things, okay?
You just said earlier in this live stream that you have diminished hearing. That you have hearing issues. Are you sure you're hearing what you think you're hearing, Betty?
You know, at the end of the day, we all hear them. So why are they so overly protective of two people? Just doesn't make sense.
Maybe because they hold up the law and people are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law with evidence of a crime. We have an open investigation into the disappearance of a missing teenager. Maybe because they go off of law and order and don't falsely accuse people of things without the evidence to prove that they did something. None of us know what happened to Sebastian. We have no clue. We have no idea if anybody was involved or not.
But say la vie, say la vie. We'll be going in front of this judge, this judge that I've lost all. This county has made me question. You guys know I have been a law and order person. I believe in the courts process. I believe in all of this, right? Up until this has shaken. You know, I see what Trump has gone through with this law.
Once again, comparing herself to Trump.
Lawfare. And I hope to God that if people start, I hope it starts becoming a felony to utilize the court system to injure somebody.
Ooh, say it ain't so. The queen of frivolous lawsuits wants it to be a felony to... Yikes, Betty. Are you sure you want that?
I hope it becomes a criminal offense, because it needs to be a criminal offense as well. Anyways, and moreover, past perjury, or they need to have perjury. They need to make that a felony, and or put some criteria like they do for all these other crimes. Like if you do this is a Class A misdemeanor. If you go this way,
and I don't think you really want any of that, Betty. I really don't think you'd want any of that. Not at all.
Perjury, this is a Class B misdemeanor. If you do this is a Class C felony. Something like that, a tiered system depending on what happened, because perjury.
I think most places do have sort of consequences similar to, like, anyways, Betty. Wow. This is the legal beagle here. She is a professional legal paralegal beagle. Yeah, yikes.
Resulted in an arrest for me, and I think that should be a felony. So we'll see where this goes. But we need to quit talking about, I think for all social media creators aside, we all need to quit talking about the court cases and just start staying focused on Sebastian Wing, Drake Rogers. We're going to start talking.
Oh, you want us all to stop talking about the court cases? Nah. I'm loving this for you. Please keep talking. Please do. I'm loving this for you.
Talking about some talking points that are coming out of these interviews with the parents, the father, the stepfather, and the mother. We're going to discuss this without fear. Okay?
He's fearless.
Fear. We're doing nothing wrong. We're doing anything everybody else is doing, just not.
Sonia, can you make her a shirt that says no fear? Since you like to use other people's. And maybe you could put no fear and then in quotations, Bullhorn Betty. That sounds like a right up your alley type of shirt, Sonia.
Not mainstream media, right? We don't have to be mainstream media. We are alternative media. It's not.
You're alternative something. Alternative thinking. Delusional thinking. I mean, yeah, sure.
Not that we don't like mainstream media. I got a lot of friends in mainstream media, quite frankly. A lot of friends.
You got friends?
I don't like
Do they know your friends?
The fact that they're controlled by boardrooms and politicians and law enforcement. They hinder.
Oh, boardrooms and politics. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
The flow of information that the public is entitled to. And we don't do that. And that does unnerve people. And they can be unnerved all they want. But is it unlawful? No, it's not.
Oh, really? Oh, it's not unlawful. Okay. But when it comes to other people, it's unlawful, just not you. I gotcha.
All right, guys. God bless. Rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound to cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. And please don't forget, if you have $1, $1 will do. Hit up the GoFundMe. God bless each and every one of you.
Hashtag no regrets. Betty's got no regrets today. No regrets. Okay, I wanted to play a segment from Mr. and Mrs. E's before we leave today that I found interesting. I'm not going to play all of this, but I want you to hear what he says about Nick the Hat. This might perk some of your ears up if you haven't seen this yet, because it's kind of interesting of what he actually says.
The creator would be responsible for their content at that point, would be my opinion. And someone asked, and I wanted to know if you wanted to address it before you started. They just wanted to know what our opinion of the background of Nick the Hat. And you have addressed that in previous shows, but we haven't talked about it recently. I don't know if you wanted to address it now or wait till later, but I just wanted to let her know we were going to try to answer that question.
Well, I did a pretty good amount of research on Nick when he came on the scene because um I didn't know anything.
I got you on Betty's 9-minute video. We'll play that ending out. As soon as I'm done with this, we'll play that. And then we'll end it for this little laughter in the morning with Betty and friends.
About him. And I was, a lot of folks were kind of like alarm bells about this guy being, whatever, a scammer.
I'm taking it off the screen for the simple fact that Granny and Barbecue Lady's full legal names are in these documents, and I just don't feel like blasting it. I mean, it's publicly available, but I'm just going to take them off. You can still hear them though.
Or whatever, all that kind of stuff, but that's kind of what everybody always says. And so I was like, well, yeah, I want to see what this is all about. And so I spent some time kind of just going through his past, and he's actually kind of hard to research. But we did a whole live on some of the stuff we found, and basically there's kind of three main phases to his background. He was kind of like a political operative. So if you think almost like a Roger Stone type, where those guys that kind of work in the background that get the dirt on the political opponents and stuff like that, that kind of work. That's the kind of stuff he was doing, and he was very good at that. He was able to get, and he worked for both Democrat and Republicans at times. He was able to make real change.
I want you to listen to what he is talking about. He's talking about Nick the Hat. I also got the article. Thank you, Chico. I will play that too. He is absolutely telling you, but it gets really interesting what he's saying here.
Bringing down various corrupt politicians, having them step down and that kind of thing on both parties as well. Then he kind of went through this phase where he was more of a journalist type, working for like the National Enquirer and his own website and things of that nature. And was part of Jeff Bezos scandal. He was at the heart of that. He was one of the main people that if you remember that affair issue or whatever with the picture that happened years ago, that was Nick in the middle of that. So that was a big moment for his career, I would imagine. And then he started kind of getting more involved in this kind of like crisis management stuff. Like it seems like he's been doing that for about 5 or 6 years.
Crisis management. What's the crisis that he's managing here? Because they're managing Seth Rogers. What's the crisis? Because they're not investigating or have anything to do with the investigation into the disappearance of Sebastian. So what is the crisis management that is needed on Seth's behalf? Mr. E is telling you the background of Nick, and he's telling you he's a crisis manager. Isn't that interesting? I found that to be very interesting.
For celebrities and politicians. So if you think kind of like some scandal or huge situation happens, this is the kind of guy you call. So he said,
this is the kind of guy you call if you've got some sort of scandal. Interesting.
He's really had an eclectic, interesting career, but been pretty successful with it. One of the articles
I would beg to differ on the record that you can publicly see and the things that he has been held responsible for doing. But again,
found was Sylvester Stallone had hired him at one point because there was some fake news being written about him, and brought Nick on board to take care of that.
There were some allegations against Sylvester Stallone based on documents in Las Vegas. you can actually hear, we've talked about this, and I actually played one of the interviews with one of the guys that got caught up in the smear campaign of Nick, in my opinion, who talked all about it. I just find it to be really interesting, the choice of words that Mr. E is using. If you're caught in a scandal and they do crisis management, huh?
And I guess whatever happened with that situation
Kind of seems like what you would call a fixer. Yeah. But what would be needing to be fixed here?
whatever methods he used, Sylvester Stallone was happy enough with it that part of his deal with them was he gave.
And they were SA allegations, yep, against Stallone. Okay. Kenna, I'm not sure. Yeah, I want you guys go, if you want to watch the rest of it, please do. I just wanted to play that one little snippet though of him. He's telling you he's looked thoroughly. He did an entire segment on Nick. But the choice of words, if you're involved in a scandal and crisis management, there's a lot in there that, what are you saying here, Mr. E? Kind of intriguing, if you ask me. All right, let's go to this one. We'll do this one next. And then we'll end out with Beddy Short. Okay, this is going to be, let me play this ad. This is from WSMV, another news station. You can skip this ad. And hold on, we're going to skip it. Got to find the volume. Going to make it big.
Fall season is a little disappointing compared.
Did it just kick me? Hold on. I got to get it situated here. It just kicked me. No, it's good. Okay. Should be good. This is just the
The
ad.
numbers don't lie.
Wait, I skipped the ad.
Under Trump, homicides skyrocketed nearly 30%, the largest.
Come on. Give me the ad free version. Sorry. Give it a second. I skipped the damn ads. I can just read it. But I wanted to play it. Okay. I'll just read it. You guys can see it. Okay. So this says, this is private investigator responds to injunction from Sebastian Rogers' father, Dog the Bounty Hunter. This was from 2 hours ago, Hendersonville, Tennessee. Seth Rogers, father of missing 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers, recently joined Dwayne Dog Chapman in filing a preliminary injunction against several people who have joined the search for the teenager. The injunction request cites interference and obstruction as the reasons for the filing. One private investigator involved in the search, Steve Fisher, filed a non-party opposition to the injunction request, claiming he is actively engaged in the search for Sebastian, and a preliminary and ultimately permanent would undermine the real search for the boy. My standing as a non-party opposer in this case arises from the plaintiff's attempts to secure a preliminary and permanent injunction, Fisher explains in his opposition, which would undermine the integrity of the investigation by silencing media personalities, obstructing public dialogue, and acquiring communications and data. Fisher states in the opposition that he is the only licensed investigator involved in the search, and At Night Media, Dog the Bounty Hunter's company, has yet to set foot in Tennessee and use unlicensed personnel and illegal tactics to gain information in cases. One At Night Media employee, according to Fisher, is on parole and is barred from engaging with law enforcement in any capacity. The initial motion for a preliminary injunction was filed in Pennsylvania, where At Night Media is located. The motion was aimed at two people, Barbecue Lady and Granny, who were using their social media platforms to aid in the search for Sebastian. I don't know if that's correct. Seth Rogers and Dog the Bounty Hunter claim that Chu and anyone else launching their own search efforts was an obstruction and were actually interfering in the search. Fisher disagrees. Their illegal activities as unlicensed investigators should not be protected, and granting an injunction would harm the public interest by silencing critical reporting on a matter of public concern. Sebastian was reported missing on February 26th after his mother and stepfather said he left their home in Hendersonville and never returned. Sebastian reportedly has autism and it was last seen wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, black square-framed glasses, according to his family. I mean, I'm glad that there's another side being shown here. I just don't know if I agree with some of the things that are being said. Just personal agreements, disagreements. Janice in County says it's time for people to really start talking about the fact that these channels are currently running like high controlled groups. Look into the bite model. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's absolutely high control for sure. Yeah. Granny is a commentary channel though. I don't think that her channel, I don't even know if she would say that she was doing content to aid in the search for Sebastian. Maybe I'm not speaking for her, but I don't know. I would love to see a piece by the lawyer Mystery Maven on the big picture of what social media does in these cases. That I would love to see. I would love to see somebody that's an actual respected advocate do a piece on how social media impacts these cases from a broad spectrum. Okay, let's not talk about his weight. They did that. I see you, but they did that to Chris and Katie in court, and I had a major issue with that because going through the most stress with having a missing child, and I know you're not doing it to be nasty, but let's just not do what they do, please. Okay, this is Beddy's exclusive behind the scenes of Court TV, Sebastian Rogers, Tennessee.
Your reaction to what happened and what is happening in all of this?
My professional opinion, I would say something along the lines of Chris and Katie.
Okay, so let me talk about the dog handler situation. There is 2 different dog handlers. There's been many dog handlers involved. Steph, the one that claimed that she took a private jet from California to Tennessee to search with her Chewy dogs, married to somebody in law enforcement since, he's been in law enforcement for 45 years, meaning that he would have been 15, lied about who her spouse was, all of that stuff, showed pictures of somebody else's spouse. That was Steph, the dog handler. Julia, I've talked about this. I've got videos on the dog handler situation. Julia does have different credentials. It became a muddy mess. She also was in Mr. and Mrs. E's last night saying that she's new to social media. Ma'am, you were in JB Gunner's chat way before Sebastian went missing. So you weren't new to social media when this story kicked off. You were in the same chat of JB Gunner's that Clue was seen in, saying that people could get a GoFundMe to ship people back to Africa. You were in that chat, Julia. So you're not new to social media. Vodka, whiskey, tequila, and brandy. Vodka is a joke. That was Steph, though. There's multiple situations.
He did something to my son. They're using Sumner County to cover it up and to hide themselves.
And I actually detailed Steph's stories. There's a whole series on that. It's actually probably some of the funniest shit because we took notes as she was switching her stories and giving all of her spins. I actually reached out to Julia to ask her to pull away because of the harm it could do to her image and career. And then my private information got passed around by the team and spoke about. So there's that. See if I'll ever try to help somebody not ruin their own reputation. Sorry, not sorry.
From the actual law.
And it's all about Chris and Katie Proudfoot, who Katie Proudfoot is the mother of Sebastian, and then Chris is the stepfather. And they brought an action to restrain, to stop Bullhorn Beddy from allegedly harassing them.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere. True.
Oh, hell no, we're not listening to her intro. Does Seth know you released this? Because he was really upset with T-Rev releasing a photo of him in his Discord. Does he know you did this?
Sebastian walked out of that home, and it makes you wonder what else they're lying about, Vinny.
Have other people contacted you based off of Ms. Griffin's conduct on her social media accounts? Hundreds.
Yes, she was in the she is seen in the court TV behind them. Both Tony's wife and Beddy are seen in the court TV behind Seth and Tony. And she actually acknowledges after this interview dropped that she was right there, that they were in Nashville celebrating Tony's birthday.
Okay. How often does that happen? Daily. Is it possible for you to avoid the media circuits that surrounds Ms. Griffin's conduct? Absolutely not. Okay. Have people gotten your personal phone number that way? Yes, sir. Have they gotten your email? Yes, sir. They message you on Facebook? Yes, sir.
He's asked, why are you afraid of Bullhorn Beddy? Take a listen.
What are you afraid of from Andre Griffin?
What am I directly afraid of, sir? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Well, when you make a video threatening to shouldering a gun from another state, directly in videos related to me, my wife, my family, that's a threat, plain and simple. She also said she was going to bring a machete for the record.
Okay, let's bring back in Seth Rogers, Sebastian's dad, and Tony Mathis. Just quick clarification, everyone's watching that. Was she threatening?
No, that's misinformation too about Vinny taking this down. It is in the middle of a bigger segment by Court TV. It's about the 19-minute mark. It's still available on Facebook. I don't know if it was ever posted to YouTube, but the entire segment is like 40 some minutes long, and their part starts around the 19-minute mark and goes to about the 40 something minute mark.
You bring a machete to go after the Proudfoots?
Well, Vinny, you being one of the better investigative reporters in this case, you know that if you take a 4 or 5 second clip out of an hour-long video, you can twist that and turn that into anything you want it to be. When she was talking about the things that she was going to need to be walking through these heavily wooded areas, one of the things that she mentioned she would probably need is a machete. But you don't get to see all that because that doesn't fit the narrative. Does that make sense?
Well, on top of that,
I get.
If she had stated that she was going to bring a machete, don't you think the felon that made the video for the Proudfoots would have actually clipped that in there?
That happened. But I want to bring in our special guest joining us tonight.
Why does the braid... Did they braid from front and then from back and meet in the middle and just hang it there? I'm really confused by that braid looking at it. Sorry, I'm distracted very easily. Squirrel moment.
Sebastian Rogers' father, Seth Rogers, is with us, and the Rogers family spokesperson, Tony Mathis, as well. Thank you both for coming here. What's your reaction, Seth and Tony, to what happened today or yesterday in court with Bullhorn Beddy? And what are your thoughts about Bullhorn Beddy and what she's been doing?
Well, Vinny, first off, thank you for having us tonight. Let me be crystal clear about something. That entire family lied under oath to get those protective orders. This family...
I'm really confused. I'm sorry. Stop yelling at me. I'm really confused. It looks like it's braided from the back and then braided from the front. And I'm just confused of how that's braided.
Has spent more time trying to silence people than they've spent looking for Sebastian. We know for a fact that there's no proof that Sebastian walked out of that home.
And we've all pushed back on that and asked for the proof or the source of this, and they have been silent. Once again, typical them. You ask for sources or proof that they don't have, then they remain silent.
And it makes you wonder what else they're lying about, Vinny. It also makes you wonder what would happen if Sebastian would have been able to file a protective order against his stepfather.
Seth, your reaction to what happened and what is happening in all of this.
My professional opinion, I would say something along the lines of Chris and Katie did something to my son. They're using Sumner County to cover it up and to hide themselves from the actual law.
And let me ask you, Seth, and we have no independent information. We know that police are saying there's no suspect. No one's been named as a suspect in any of this. But this seems to be, at least from my perspective, Seth, is it a change in the way you are seeing what has transpired through all this?
What is the point of her posting this? I'm confused.
Are you
It's
seeing
the evidence.
things differently than you did before?
It's the evidence. I still believe my son is alive. I still believe he's somewhere. But the fact is that he was at their house last. There is
Revival.
no evidence that he ever left the house. And they, as Tony has stated, they have spent more money and time trying to get people to not speak about Sebastian.
Once again, that's factually incorrect. They filed for restraining orders, which is free for the victims to do. Eventually, yes, they did hire an attorney, but right now, Bullhorn Beddy is on the hook for paying their attorney and court fees because she lost in court and was required or is being required to pay their legal fees and the court costs. Seth has served 6 cease and desist, and then we found out there was more cease and desist served by the company that represents him, which would be At Night Media, and they have also now filed for a filing in Pennsylvania court, which was around $400. So if we want to talk factually speaking here, they filed a restraining order, which is free for the victims to do, and Betty's on the hook for their legal fees and the court costs after that. And Seth has used an attorney for 6 C&Ds in the beginning, and then now this filing in Pennsylvania and additional C&Ds that they're claiming through At Night.
Then, speaking about Sebastian, Sumner County hasn't come out.
Ah, shit, Am. Victims and their families needs to come together, get a team of attorneys, fight against YouTube and the parasites. We need action from the victims. Laws need to be created to protect those in active trauma. Am, yes, thank you for the support. 100%, you guys. Am did an incredible, I need to share that. Am did an incredible post last night and was talking about, like, you know, we do, and this is something her and I talk about extensively. It's always something I have such a hard time with because I wish there was things that we could actively do. And I think if there is one thing that I would encourage you, and I think I'm going to start doing it myself, writing to local politicians, local people here in Arizona, in my county, in my state, to get a bigger, like, a lot of people aren't even aware of the harm that happens to these victims and their families through social media and media. They're completely unaware. And maybe, just maybe, if we do it in every state and get people to start recognizing there is a real problem, we might be able to get somebody to stand in and help. These victims so much need protections and laws to be passed. 100%. Am, will you please remind me when I'm done with this to share your post on my page, please?
Since April with anything, and Katie won't come out and speak, won't ask for help to find Sebastian. I really have to say that she never loved her son. And on top of that, I have the DCS reports that I've written that I have literally took me an attorney to get them.
Yes, agreed. Again, Am, I don't know what the deal is with her posting this. I see that comment in the chat too. I have no idea what the intent of this is. This is a part of that Vinnie Politan segment from Court TV. Again, it's on Facebook. You can go back and watch it. I've covered the full thing. It's not taken down. I don't know if it was ever posted on YouTube, but Am, you're correct. Like, this little thing that we're doing here, the little thing, like, this is nothing in the big scheme of things. We need to actually put action. Using our voices here ultimately isn't going to really benefit us in the long run. It gets more people to be aware of the problem, but real action, like what Mystery Maven is shooting for, things like that, are what are going to change things for victims. And we need a huge group of voices to stand up for victims and their families. Truly.
Sebastian deserves a restraining order from those two.
You've accused them of lying, the Proudfoots, right? So
100%.
what were they lying? What were they lying about from your perspective? And again, we have no independent information or confirmation that they said anything that was untrue or verification that what they said was true.
Well,
actually,
Vinny,
what were they lying about from your perspective, and what's the evidence from your perspective that they are not telling the truth?
Well, they actually were lying, and it was proven in court that they were lying about what they stated in the protective.
It was not proven in court that they were lying. That's factually false. That is incorrect. The orders were granted. They continue to gaslight their subs and their audiences by saying that this is, no, it was not proven. That has not been proven. It was never proven in court. This is to invoke hate towards Katie and Beddy. Will stop at nothing to make Katie's life hell. Janice, 100%. 100% agreed. Sorry, guys, I had to come in because the yard guy. Yeah, this is wild. This is just a complete lie. And I did a whole video breaking this down and pushing back and questioning these things. Where's the sources of this? Where's this? Where's that? There is none. We went through and looked at all the articles to show people that what they are saying is baseless.
Orders, which was that she had had physical contact with them, that she was following, stalking, and harassing them. And even on the stand, Mr. Proudfoot admitted that he had never met her in person. So in my opinion, it's a little difficult to be stalking somebody.
Again, I'm going to ask you because this, let me play this.
Somebody that you've never met in person.
That is the most ignorant statement I've ever heard. The most ignorant statement. So you can't be stalked unless you've met the person. Do you think most people that have been targeted and stalked for years, like horrific stalking, the Night Stalker, let's talk about Richard Ramirez. Do you think that most of his victims knew that he was stalking these people? Do you think, I mean, think of any stalking event. Most of the victims do not know their stalker. That is the most ignorant shit I've ever heard somebody say. Ignorant shit. And he just carries on. And this is the national spokesperson for a victim and his father. What? Who doesn't even understand one bit. And I'm going to say it again. I think this man, Tony Mathis, is 100% exploiting Seth, his emotional well-being, for his own personal gain, meaning ego, attention. He don't care, in my opinion. Again, this is my opinion about Seth's well-being. He came in, he told us he was the cleanup crew. Cleanup for what? Why was Tony brought on at the beginning of May? And then why do we have, he's a cleanup crew. And then next we have what Mr. E is calling basically a fixer in Nick the Hat, who handles scandals. What's the scandal here?
And it goes to the many inconsistencies that have been told by Mr. Proudfoot since the very first interview. Not one of his interviews have matched up, Vinny.
Green Goddess, anybody, if anybody has any connections to anybody, and you don't even have to have connections, we all need to start writing our politicians, making our local governments aware that this is happening. We need to get attention on this. We need to make action. We talk a lot. I talk a lot. But we need to take it to an action phase where we are bringing awareness for victims and their families. Right now, we are talking about Sebastian and what has happened to his case, but this is widespread. There are other cases, horrific, Idaho 4, not a missing child. Look what's happened to a lot of the families, the roommates, situations like that up there. This has to stop.
And when you say the interviews haven't matched up, you're not talking about So I just want to make this clear to everyone watching. You're talking about the disappearance of Sebastian?
100%.
Not about Bullhorn Betty in this case.
Yeah, the Bullhorn Betty lies were just another long string in the lies that they've told since the beginning. If you go back and break the interviews down from the very first interview they did all the way from Nancy Grace and beyond before they quit coming out in public, you can see one inconsistency after the next.
So are they lies or inconsistencies, Tony? Because that's two leaps. Lies and inconsistencies are two different things. Wendy, I'm really sorry that that happened to you. And his statement was completely ignorant. But it just shows like this man has no knowledge of what victims actually go through. To even say that somebody can't be stalked if they don't know their stalker, they've never met their stalker in person, is yeah.
And the great thing about telling the truth, Benny, is when you're doing that, it's always the same. It doesn't change.
Really? Is that so, Tony? By the way, if you want to see videos of me actually clipping his own words and then slapping his own words to show his intentional lies, I've done videos on Tony too.
What's the most material inconsistency that you believe has been stated from Chris and or Katie?
Many inconsistencies told about the phone calls, the time of the phone calls, the bedtimes, what happened after he went to bed. Just, that entire 10 to 12 hour period, many, many inconsistencies. Also not rock solid alibis and a lot of time that's unaccounted for.
And again, this is the man who sat on Brittany J's and said he doesn't know anything really about the investigation. That's not his part in this. His part is to protect Seth and Seth's interests. He doesn't really involve himself. He didn't know much about the lights video. He didn't know all these details of the case, but now he is speaking as if he knows about the case. And this is still doesn't matter. Even if they think that there's inconsistencies, law enforcement is the investigative agency. There is no suspect that's been named. This is an open investigation, not a criminal investigation. There's no evidence of a crime. Everything is on the table, but there's no foul play that is being suspected at this point in time. The parents' stories have been vetted and the parents have been fully cooperative according to law enforcement. You can also go check out Nick Barris and the most recent updates he has given, and that has stayed consistent throughout the months since Sebastian has gone missing. And he has a direct contact with Sumner County or law enforcement.
They were also, probably the biggest thing, Benny, is that they told Nancy Grace that they were told by TBI not to take a polygraph, and we found out later from TBI that that is 1,000% not accurate.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
I'm not sure why Beddy posted that, to be honest. I'm not sure. That doesn't do anything for what they're trying to do. It just shows more gaslighting and twisting and turning of stories, saying that the courthouse lied when in reality there's no indication that the court claimed that Chris and Katie lied. There's just no indication of that. That's just more fluff and more to hype people up and get people to run with stuff. I'm not sure what the point of that was, but all right, y'all, I'm out of here. I just wanted to have a laugh at Beddy with you guys this morning because this is unbelievable. Unfucking real. The delusions of that woman are insane. I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day. I don't know if I'll be back later today or not. I might take the rest of the day off and rest my voice, but I will be back. I'm trying to piece out some of this filing and the exhibits so it's not as heavy because it's a lot to get through and it's really heavy, especially when I do the clips. But I think the next ones I'm going to do potentially might be Tony and Julia and Seth, their declarations, the complaint, and clips of their stuff, because that's where it gets real confusing with Julia. Again, I don't know how people have been confused on that. We've always been very clear on Julia over here as far as like, yes, she military, yes, she has certifications of something or not, but she got mixed in and actively refused to acknowledge that she was giving credence to a fake dog handler and knowingly went into that interview and then cried victim afterwards. I'm not really sure what's all going on there. There's a whole lot with that. It's really interesting to me, though, on her situation that she is a plaintiff in this. I thought she was always working with them. People thought she had gotten away from the team. I have the clips of Tony saying that that's their girl. So I thought she was always still working with them, and there was some intentional muddying of the water going on there. But one of the other plaintiffs, being BJ, was the one to come out, if I remember correctly, and say that she was contacted by somebody saying that I think Julia was missing. It's really confusing. There's a lot of muddying of waters, and Julia actually went on the Vault XL and said a whole lot. Like, there's a whole lot. And there's also some mentions, there's declarations from Uncle Taco's wife, Aunt Burrito, which are really interesting too, because people might have forgot that she went on the Vault XL with Uncle Taco and spoke publicly too. So there's a lot of interesting things, and I want to kind of clip some of that stuff out and be able to show you guys some of that. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your day. And if I see you later, I will see you later. If not, be safe out there. And remember, protect yourself and your peace. And let's move it to an action phase of writing our local officials and bringing attention to this. I think that's a great, something we can all do. Stay safe. Bye, y'all.